All right, I think I'm live. Hi guys, happy new moon. I'm gonna hop over to the software. Let me know when you guys can hear me. I'm just gonna kind of like set the space and wait for people to hop in. Grab your natal chart. I went ahead and unlocked this video for the tier above, the $11 a month tier, the ones that work with the full moon phase. Because it is so important, because it kicks off our next eclipse season, not the one we're currently in, but the one that will come after. We're technically in an eclipse moon now, and this new moon is going to be very pivotal for a future full moon. So I went ahead and unlocked it for the tier above. Also, shit is getting really crazy right now, and I figured this message is really needed. And so depending on how deep down the rabbit hole I go tonight and how many trigger words I say, I might actually release this video on YouTube, depending on where I go. I'm not sure. But this video is definitely going to take a little bit of a turn because of current events. But go ahead and let me know if you guys can hear me. I see you in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and clear this space with a little sound as well, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I have a bunch of notes. I have some slides. We'll figure out where things are in your chart so you know like where to focus your intentions. And then I pulled some cards as well. Hi Claire, she can hear me. Yay! And this is a crown chakra Tibetan singing bowl. It's said to resonate to the frequency of Om, which is said to be the frequency of the universe. Not that we really have any way of proving that, but alright. And then that was just rosemary that I burned. I have a list of herbs that resonate with Taurus energy as well here on one of the slides, if you guys want to utilize that. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into the slides, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to move my face though. If you guys want to, I guess this one's not super important to screenshot, but you do want to be able to read the words. So, I always like to try to like encode the picture with as much as I can to kind of sum it up so that we have like a visual and kind of an idea of where we're going here. And Taurus season is really where we start the seeds that were planted in spring in Aries season start to take root. We start to build the like first little roots here, like in this image, that then will become the basis for everything else that grows throughout the zodiac cycle. Taurus is where we build really the root system, the foundation, everything that builds upon it, the nutrients that are going to feed it, the resources, things along those lines. So we're starting to do a lot of things and manifest a lot of things, and these intentions that we're going to be setting are very much going to be what we need to build that root system. We had some sparks, some initiatory sparks occur around the Aries new moon throughout Aries season, and things were set into motion, but they were still very ethereal. They were not physical and tangible. We certainly didn't have the plan set out and the resources in order to implement said plan. And right now is where we start to manifest said resources to become self-sustaining. And we're going to talk about that a lot as we continue on, because as with every transit, there are multiple manifestations, and this is what we want to manifest. Down at the bottom, it just says magic, fate, the body, and our physical reality. And that's just trying to really sum it up. Like I said, we're pretty much in eclipse season. This is the new moon counterpart to a solar eclipse that will be occurring in November 19th, at the end of the year, which will be the first eclipse of our next eclipse story. So right now we are in a Gemini Sagittarius eclipse story. If you guys took a screenshot, then I'm going to put my face up now. Right now we are in a Gemini Sagittarius eclipse story that started back in May of 2020, about this time last year. It's an 18-month story that culminates at the end of the year. Before we have that final culmination of this Gemini Sagittarius eclipse story, this moon that comes right before that is the start of the next one. So they kind of like the timelines merge. So I always say that new moons have multiple culmination points. They have from the new moon to the full moon, a 2-week portal. They have the 6-month portal from the new moon to the partner full moon. So the Taurus full moon, which is the major culmination point for this energy. And then they have like long drawn out manifestations. And if any sign is going to have something where we can implement something that's going to be steadfast, have longevity, last, really help us build a firm foundation here in the physical that will be dependable and self-supportive, it's Taurus. So when you're setting your intentions for this moon, I want you to really think about like those 3 different timelines. And I want you to set some for like the next 2 weeks. So from now until our Sagittarius eclipse, which is on the 26th. From now to the 26th, what do you want to manifest physical, tangible here to help you build this foundation and seek the security that you need in order to implement the vision of Aries season and co-create over 2 weeks, and then for 6 months, and then really the time frame that I'm thinking of, like tangible, really what is in play in the sky, is this end of our 45-year cycle that we've talked about with the Uranus-Saturn square that we're in right now. So that's a Uranus-Saturn cycle. It started with a conjunction and it moved all the way around, and that takes 45 years. We are on the tail end of that. That ends in 2032. And Uranus is in play with this moon. We're playing off of Saturn there as well in a square wide, but we've talked about how that is the end of this new world order, for lack of a better term, that we see rolling out, that started with like different shifts in political systems, inevitably ramping up to globalization. And that's where we're at now, and we're going to talk about that a lot as we get in. But we have these different aspects to this moon that are bringing in aspects of fate, because we are in pretty much an eclipse. This moon's partner is an eclipse. We have an eclipse in 2 weeks. It's pretty much eclipse season. And when the eclipses come in, this like element of fate comes around to just have things occur and put us on certain trajectories that are where humanity is headed. We have this element of magic very much flowing in through the sextile to Neptune that also brings in a lot of illusions as well. And then the focus is very much on the physical. It's very much coming into sovereignty within the self, within the body, and being able to be safe and secure within the self, within the body, within your physical reality, and manifesting tangible things that you will need moving forward for your mission and your purpose and what it is you came here to do. So that's really the moon in a nutshell, and we're going to go ahead and dive a little deeper as we get into here. I'm going to move my face so you guys can take a screenshot, and I'm going to put it right back because I need my hands to explain stuff. So how do I do this? Right here. Okay, so feel free to take a screenshot. These are the main signs we're going to be looking for right now. Although we're going to be talking about a lot of different things happening in the sky, so I might bring up other things later. But you really, for the most part, if you do nothing else, you want to look at your natal chart right now. And you want to look and see what house is activated by Taurus. Hopefully you've taken a screenshot because I'm going to put my face back up. Taurus is the symbol up in the top up there. You want to go ahead and find that in your chart, and you want to look and see what house is activated. It's going to be one of these ones up here. These are brief little synopsis of what this house represents. I recommend Googling it, reading more on some blogs, and checking the apprentice cheat sheet that's linked below on the Patreon video. Print that out and have it with you. It's so helpful. It really, really, really will help you so much to start to learn the language that is astrology, so that it becomes kind of like second nature. So you really want to look and see where Taurus is. Now, if you have any planets there, particularly around 21 degrees of Taurus, then this moon is very much going to be a focus for you in your life. If you also have any planets within any of the fixed signs, so Taurus is a fixed sign, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. If you have any planets within that 21 degrees of one of those signs that I just mentioned, this moon is going to be either conjunct, opposite, or square those planets. And those are those 90-degree angles that we talk about a lot that really manifest things into reality. If you have planets within 21 degrees of other signs, they may be within a trine or a sextile, some easier energy that you might not feel as much, but the squares, they create this needed conflict so that stuff manifests within reality. It's that spark of initiation that creates action. So you'll probably really be feeling that. So now would be a great time to look to see if you have any planets there. Again, that's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Those are the fixed signs, and around 21 degrees, an orb on either side. We have Uranus in play as well. I think it's over at 11 degrees. So really you can widen that orb. If you have planets within the fixed signs right now, they're feeling it regardless throughout 2021 because of the Saturn and Uranus square. Also want to look and see down at the bottom if you have any planets, I can't point, but in Pisces, you really want to look and see what house Pisces rules in your chart. Pisces is going to be a major focus. We've had Neptune transiting through there for quite some time, really awakening us to our magic, our creativity, the illusions of this world, and spirituality, awakening this spiritual aspect within humanity. And now we have Jupiter moving in later this month, and it is going to be highlighting that in just a couple of days. Actually, on the 13th, Jupiter will be entering Pisces. And this area is very much going to be illuminated and expanded and of major focus. And you really want to look and see what area that's going to be happening in, because now would be a great time to manifest intentions for that as well. What do you want to expand? What do you want to grow? What do you want to blossom in this area of your life that is ruled by Pisces? You also want to look and see where Gemini and Sagittarius fall in your chart. If you have been following me here on Patreon for a while, we've pinpointed this. This is where this eclipse story is. This is where the nodes are. This is where we're being asked to give and take and create and release and transmute and unify. And this area has very much been a focus for over a year now. And now we have activations to the nodes. We have Mercury conjunct to the North Node right now. Gemini season is right around the corner. And this is the energy that is very much is a focus right now as well. So you want to look and see where these houses are, because we're about to be thrown. We're already kind of feeling it. This like weird time warpy energy where we're kind of like, a lot of timelines are merging and crossing and changing, and we're in that like portally energy of eclipse season, and things are going to get a little bit weird. They already are. We're going to talk about a lot of the things that are going on like the mundane level, and it's nice to know what areas might be affected, particularly because we have Mercury going retrograde later this month on the 29th. In his home sign, or its home sign of Gemini, and during eclipse season in Gemini. So we're really going to be feeling some like funky stuff coming around these houses, and having us to repeat things in order to get things right, and really focusing on these certain areas. Retrogrades are really already focused on a key part that needs some tweaking in order to really push us to where we're supposed to be going. And eclipses do the same thing. And so it's almost like a magnifying glass. The eclipse has like a magnifying glass on this retrograde that's really showing us what needs to be tweaked in order to fully come into that divine alignment with where that North Node is asking us, or oftentimes making us, because it's fated. Eclipses come in and are like, no, you're doing this now, and we're just on a new path and on the right path. These are like fated, destined paths where the cosmos come in and kind of take the reins. And very much pay attention to this eclipse. I mean, this Mercury retrograde is what I'm getting at here. It's a key focus, and this 18-month story, it's almost like, eclipses don't have retrogrades of their own. They don't have like retrograde cycles, but it seems like, and they come to put us on certain trajectories, but we have free will. So a lot of times we get off track. And so think of this retrograde not as like one that's coming to fuck up your life, and I mean, you're going to be experiencing especially some like tech problems and things like that, but think of it as like this is your recalibration of your recalibration. Okay, stay with me here. So eclipses are known to be like our cosmic recalibration points throughout the year, where we're like recalibrated and set back on track. But even when put back on track, we can still get off track. So think of this Mercury retrograde as a chance to like put us even more back on track, and like lean into it and see what it's trying to teach you in order to fully step into the North Node that is like ready to blossom in whatever area of your life is ruled by Gemini right now. And then you also want to look and see where Cancer is. We have a Mars Alexandria conjunction coming up, which is actually exact on the 27th. It's really close right now. So leaning into like the intuitive aspect of whatever house that is for you, and whatever planets might be there for you, might really be a way to channel in a lot of these like ancient codes of these like lost knowledge, and like funnel in downloads and heal past timelines when it comes to anything related to, the occulting of, or the hiding of sacred knowledge and the revealing of sacred knowledge, because I think we have a lot to do with that. I really do have a lot of like past life connections to the mystery schools responsible for hiding a lot of this knowledge, but it was in order to protect it from things like, the church and things like that. But whenever things are hidden, it gives it the opportunity for like so much to breed in the shadows. And right now we're really working on dealing with a lot of the shadow from a lot of these like past life decisions that we made. And when we have eclipse seasons, timelines really merge, and that's really when a lot of that like integrating and ascending to higher versions or like higher timelines really occurs, is when you're in those like time warpy, like beyond time and space, like energies. So you're really going to be feeling that in the area of your life that is ruled by Cancer. And they're right on top of Sirius too. And we've talked a lot about how Sirius is that star of initiation that really is here to help level you up into like the next level of like being able to see past the illusion. But it does always have to deal with diving in and processing trauma and integrating the wisdom that it holds, because it falls in Cancer, the sign that very much governs the like subconscious and the early life trauma, and therefore past life trauma as well, because that was like our earliest early life. All right, we're gonna move on from here. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to write it in the chat. So before we get into the chart and all my notes and stuff, we're just gonna cover some like basics of Taurus for you to look at when you go over your intentions. I don't really have a ritual, but I pulled some cards that later, and I'm gonna lean into one of those for my ritual. So we'll cover that a little bit later. And I have a couple of songs that I'm going to tag over on Discord that I think are super magical that I'm going to plan on listening to, and you guys might enjoy as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't have the links here. I meant to, but I'm realizing right now that I forgot. So Taurus is a fixed earth sign. The energy is very stable and very much connected to the senses and our physical reality. The moon is actually considered exalted in Taurus. Exalted just means like it really, really likes it there. It does really, really well there. Even perhaps better than its home sign of Cancer. And each sign has in more ancient astrology, I think it's a Hellenistic interpretation technique. But every sign, in addition to the signs that it governs, is said to have a sign where it's considered at fall and when it's considered exalted. And at fall means kind of like in detriment, like it's not able to like express itself the way it likes it. And in the exalted manifestation, it's able to do it even better. While I don't think that planets are ever really like at fall or like detrimental, I think all challenges offer so much to be gained. It is interesting to note that the moon, by like following astrologers over eons, following patterns, have noticed that the moon tends to really, really like it here, and it is considered exalted. And it's because it's that like comfortable, grounded energy that's stable and gives that like lunar intuition a chance to really excel, where it's not like bound by the constant emotional waves and changes of, you know, lunar energy in Cancer, its home sign, or a water sign, where it's, you know, more it's connected more to the ebbs and flows than that like stable energy to be able to like truly manifest in the physical. It's more connected to the etheric realm. So Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, money, and Venus rules both Libra and Taurus, and when in Taurus, it does focus more on the money and the values, which, did I write that? I should have said values in there as well. Beauty, the arts, our personal aesthetics. So if you want to set any sort of like intentions around like your business, in like your branding or whatever it may be. Claire says it's like the beach versus the open ocean. I love that. Yeah. Personal says physical well-being, relationships, sensuality, very much focused on the senses in this physical realm and how we can experience that. Affection, harmony, what both attracts and repels us, and how we respond to these influences. And when in Taurus, it is very much focused more on like what I love, like, and more like possessions and physical things and senses and experiences, personal tastes and what you find beautiful, a focus on the material, on money as well, and focus on security. But while it's in Libra, it's more focused on like the others, more of the relationships, more of the like romantic love, as opposed to like what it is that you love, like your tastes. Taurus rules the second house, which is the house of like the physical earthly realm. Anything you want to manifest in this area is when you would do it. You guys know I'm always the first to say I am not one to be like, I need to manifest a bunch of money and like always setting intentions about like, I need this $1 million or I need this and this. I literally don't ever do that at all. I'm all about alignment. I'm all about what is in alignment. And there are times when it's time to do that. And there are times when there's time to focus on healing or letting go or different things. And right now is the time. Right now is the time to manifest whatever it is you need here in this physical earthly realm to implement your goals, ambitions, your mission, your purpose, whatever it is. But you need to have comfort and security and be taken care of. And the problem is a lot of people lean into the materialistic aspect and are very much dive into like capitalism and being dependent upon the state or the system, the matrix system, to build that security. And right now I feel we're very much shifting, and I think this next eclipse story is very much going to be this shift for us, where we're shifting into self-sustainability. I know I'm very much focused on like, I need to buy some land. I need to learn how to grow food. I need to figure out how to well water. I need to be able to take care of myself for what is to come, because we're just in the beginning stages of many changes that we are not going to want to be a part of. And we are going to need to be able to take care of ourselves. And what will keep us here will be that lack of self-security and self-sustainability. And this is really right now when we start to set these intentions. So, the house of the physical earthly realm. This is the process of evaluating what it is, what are our values. We're very much leaning into our values, and the Muggle matrix is no longer meshing with those values. And so in order to stand firm in those, we're going to have to shift how we find security and how our resources and how we take care of ourselves. Very much as a focus on the body. So the Muggle matrix, I'm trying to like not use the biggest trigger words ever, but the Muggle matrix, you know, they have a multi-pronged approach in their attack on humanity. You know, they attack us spiritually. They attack us mentally with lots of mind control tactics as well. And they attack us physically. You know, we have chemtrails. We have the current experiment everybody is taking part in. We have the other current experiment that the whole world is taking part in with these towers that are radiating dangerous radiation at us. It's so hard not to use trigger words, but I think you guys get where I'm going. We're being physically attacked. And we, here in the spiritual realm, I know many of us forget about the body. We very much forget about the body, and we cannot come into alignment within the mind, like our philosophical aspect, within our spirit, our spiritual aspect, if we're not first in alignment within the body and our physical aspect. And I'm very much having this just so blatantly shown to me as to how I have very much neglected my body and how they're attacking it. And they know it's like our antenna to those other things. We can't be in alignment mentally and truly unlock that like higher philosophical mind or really tap into the spiritual if our connection to it all here when in this reality, this meat suit, this wonderful body that we're wearing is not up to par. And that is why they attack us in all these different ways. So make sure that you're also setting intentions around your physical health and body as well. Self-worth, body awareness. How one manifests physical resources, these might very well be changing right now for many of us, and now is the time to set intentions around the shift. Emotional attachments to objects. I think that's so funny because on my planet, my sun and my south node is like super, or in the second house, conjunct Atlantis, and the super galactic center. But I always notice, like I look, whenever I see that placement in my chart, like the first thing that comes to mind is like definite like connection to like objects. Like I still have my baby blanket. I'm super connected, like physically, emotionally connected to objects. And the second house definitely governs that a lot. So, you know, I do take the full moon phase of Taurus to like work on like letting go of some things. Not everything, because I love those things, but like working on like decluttering and finding out like what it is that you truly need for this foundation, because moving forward, taking too much might be too burdensome for where it is that we're going. I do think that we are going to have to lose some of the comforts that Taurus is very much accustomed to in order to keep the values that Taurus must align with. And Taurus is stubborn, he doesn't like to do that. So it's going to be a rough transition for us, but I think really aligning with the values is where we need to be headed. So attitudes towards money and possessions, very much here. I'm going to have a lot of focus on that. I tend to view money as like the root of all evil. And I think that it's because I have my south node, which is like your past incarnation, in the second house. It's conjunct Atlantis. So I feel like something that happened there about maybe like doing something for money or like focusing on like power and riches or something in a past life really made me in this life like just want nothing to do with it. And it's not practical because we live here in the physical world where I have shit I need to do in order to implement my vision, my mission, my purpose, what I came here to do. So I really have to work through a lot of that. And this moon is going to be where I'm going to step into like my views on money and how to align with it. It's all about alignment. I don't want an excess. I don't want what I don't need. I want what it is that I need in order to implement what I came here to do so that me, myself, and my family are safe and secure. And that is Taurus. That is Taurus in a nutshell. And that's what this moon is really, really, really here to teach us. And we have Uranus right there shaking things up. So it's helping us to actually make the changes in Taurus that we, in the area of our life ruled by Taurus, that we've never been able to really do before because it is so stubborn and like fixed. So attitudes towards money and possessions, big theme for me. Security, safety. This is our foundation. Emotional attachments to objects, physical, financial security, self-sustainability. The self-sustainability that's needed to obtain true sovereignty. So, you know, many people are going to be leaning more into the material realm and being very much dependent on the matrix, while we're working on kind of like creating our own within the one we're in. You know, we have to co-create and we have to figure out how we can be in it without being of it and move into something else that doesn't exist yet. And it's very hard. and we can't see the whole vision yet, but we're only in the second zodiac sign. We're not supposed to see the vision yet. We're supposed to kind of see what we're lacking and what we need to manifest in order to build this foundation. What do you need right now? This is where you manifest it. So Taurus energy, this is just a little bit of like Taurian traits that are coming through right now, that, there might be like the lower shadowy traits or the more evolved traits. If these are traits that you either have or are lacking, now this would be a good time to like manifest these within your reality. So like, I'm not the most grounded, reliable, like structured person. So whenever Taurus energy comes around, I take the time to try to like manifest that archetype within my reality and integrate its wisdom. I also am quite stubborn and things like that as well. So I do take it as a chance to like look at that part of myself and work to understand and integrate it. Now, we need to be stubborn in order to navigate this realm. So it's just making sure that it's the evolved energy and not like the shadow energy. So Taurus energy can be very practical, reliable, patient, persistent, solid, determined, strong-willed, affectionate, warm-hearted, trustworthy, and stable, as well as possessive, lazy. So while they can be like one of the hardest working signs, other than like Capricorn and Virgo, it kind of depends on what they're working on. Capricorn will work really hard on like their career. Virgo will work very hard on like learning and service and attention to detail. And Taurus will work very hard on whatever it is that they value, but like other stuff they don't really care and they're not really going to do it. So they can be really lazy about other things. So now is really a time to find what it is that you value, lean the fuck into that, because we're encoded with these things for a reason, and find a way to integrate them into your reality, and then you'll really be in your purpose, which is multifaceted. It's not just one thing. We often have these interests because taking them all together and meshing them together is what we came here to do, because we're breaking the mold. Sometimes we have to invent things like, I never thought I was going to be doing this, but I feel really in alignment with right now with what I'm doing, especially with a lot of like the things I have in the works, like the book I want to write and like the course I want to create, and just the where I'm headed. So they can be very possessive, lazy, self-indulgent, inflexible, and stubborn. So in the body, Taurus is said to govern the throat. So like the whole physical neck, throat, larynx, vocal cords, like the whole throat that like makes that energy. And I find that very interesting because normally it's during like Gemini season or like Mercury transits that people talk a lot about like throat chakra, communication, use your voice. And we always kind of forget that in physical, like medical astrology, where the zodiac is broken out into the physical body parts, it governs our throat. So it governs our ability to speak our truth and stand in our values and vocalize that and share them with others and activate that throat chakra, which is where we really do express our truth and stand in it. So that's interesting, and keep it in mind if you want to integrate throat chakra work into any of your new moon shenanigans. And then here is a couple of herbs, which I find is so interesting because I'm making a bunch of potions. So I'm using this Taurus energy with all the senses and all the herbs in the earthly realm to make a bunch of different things. Finishing my middle path protection potion, which is it's been brewing since the Libra full moon, which was aligned with the supergalactic center, and then I drained it and like purged it with the Scorpio full moon, and now I'm going to be like bottling it and making it with this Taurus new moon, and I'm super excited about that. I'm also making a couple of tinctures that one of them can only be available to you patrons because it's not technically legal for me to sell on the internet, but we'll talk on Discord. And an elderberry. So I find it super interesting because I'm going to be using almond oil and elderberry it says elderflower, but I'm using elderberries, and I didn't even know that they were Taurus associations, but it just always kind of seems that way. I'm going to be using spearmint as well. So, herbs, almonds, cloves, elderflower, ferns, lily, mint, spearmint, thyme, and violets. And then in the world, so we're going to be getting into this, I mean, we can start to get into it now. But in the world, Taurus is said to govern, in like mundane astrology, all aspects of production, which are very much affected right now, as we just had a cyber attack on a oil pipeline that now has shut down a whole bunch of production and transportation. I mean, we have Mercury retrograde starting here, in just a couple of, like a week, and that always affects transportation and gas shortages and all kinds of things happening right now. So we're going to talk about that when we get into the chart. I have a whole bunch of notes here. I just want to get through this slide. So all aspects of production are very much a focus, and this is really showing us how the system is not sustainable, and we need to have our own system where we're not reliant on this faulty machine that it doesn't even run very well. And as we can see from past civilizations that have fallen, can only run for so long or turn completely inorganic, and I don't really want anything to do with that. So all aspects of production, we're going to be seeing this very much in food and having a lot to do with like technology and our food distribution, gas distribution, any sort of resources, and this shift in the banking system, which is going to very much be shifting us into a one world currency, which is, of course, their end goal, tying that into the CV passport. I think I did that without saying too much stuff to get this video flagged. But anyway, banks, financial institutions, and all of the basic material resources and security. So, like I said, this new moon seeds things that culminate in just 2 weeks at our next full moon, and then in 6 months. Now, this new moon happens to be the first new moon of a eclipse story. So while it itself is not an eclipse, its culmination is. So truly, this is kicking off what will be an 18-month story. So the things that we see happening right now when it comes to this oil pipeline, when it comes to food distribution, gas shortages, I even heard that flights are pretty much canceled. American Airlines has said that pretty much they're down to just essential flights because of this shortage. This is all stuff that's just starting, which is very strange because the kind of stuff we're seeing manifest is stuff we usually see at a full moon, like a culmination. This is a big full moon moment. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a 6-month culmination and an 2-year culmination point as well. Okay, so I see I have some stuff in here before I go over. Hi, Jamie. She says, my intentions are always focused on manifesting a world in which we don't need money. That mindset helped me break free from the I value myself through money/material mentality. I love that. I love that. Okay, so really quick before we get into the chart, we're just going to talk a little bit about the fucked up mythology of Taurus. So I'm going to read from this book, the Book of Constellations. What I have here is just from Wikipedia because I didn't feel like typing a bunch of stuff and I wanted to have a slide for this. So the little thing right there is from Wikipedia. But we're going to read a little bit out of here really quick on the mythology of Taurus, which, like most mythology, has a lot to do with beings from the sky imposing their will upon beings of the earth, and then dynasties being born. And we very much look at this now as, you know, the ET phenomenon and the visiting of us from beings in space. And when Taurus is involved, there's two different star systems that are activated or in that area particularly. We have the Pleiades, which is kind of like in the shoulder of the bull. And then we have Aldebaran, which is the red eye of the bull, which is one of the four royal fixed stars that very much governs the archonic forces of the like fourth dimension, whatever you want to call it, that are part of this polarized state. So we know a lot about, the whatever. I'm just going to say a bunch of stuff. It's going to get me in trouble, but I just don't know how to not do it. So we hear a lot about, reptilian entities. And yes, we know that those very much exist. And there is very much a shadowy, dark aspect that is a control system as well. But we just don't address the fact that there's a control system on the other side as well. And they, do not necessarily have our best interests in mind, but have very much been enmeshed with the human race for quite some time and are very much going to be coming forward again and are still working with our military. The entities, the Nordic entities from Aldebaran are the same ones that were said to be working with Hitler and the psychics that channeled during World War II and helped him start his secret space program that we then took over. So we have these different energies. We have the Pleiades coming through and also this kind of like domineering it's almost like it's almost the same as the colonization that we see happening here on Earth. And they have that same sort of like space colonization mentality, manifest destiny when it comes to the cosmos as opposed to the earthly realm. And it is sad that the ancestors from this particular system are the ones responsible for then colonizing Earth. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read this. In the heavens, Taurus depicts the front part of a bull with a wicked red eye and horns lowered, ready to charge. So really quick, the Aldebaran Star is one of the four royal fixed stars, one of the four Persian stars, which is said to very much have a dual manifestation. It's said that these stars can very much bring fame and fortune, and they do. We see them manifest in like kings and queens. Donald Trump has one of them on his ascendant. People who get high up in the elites usually have one of these stars, and it can bring a lot of fame and fortune and glory, but also a lot of like negative manifestations and a huge fall from grace, and lots of shadowy energy. So they're usually, when you look at fixed star astrology, a lot of these stars have like a harsh energy, like connected with like Pluto and Mars and like war and destruction and like things like that. But in the New Age movement, they just say that this is the Archangel Michael star and it's like love and light and you should channel it all into you all the time. So, when you really look into like the esoteric underbelly of these things that are said within the New Age movement, we can see like there's more to the story. So in the heavens, Taurus depicts the front part of a bull, which is with a wicked red eye and horns lowered, ready to charge. In mythology, the bull represents Zeus in disguise, pursuing yet another fair maiden, the beautiful Europa. Europa was the daughter of the king of Phoenicia. The Phoenicians. So Europa is actually the namesake for Europe. So we really see this like Indo-European colonizing bloodline already in play, connected all the way back to the mythology and the bull, the onset of bull worship. Europa was playing one day on the seashore with her girlfriends when she spied a beautiful white bull gazing quietly up among her father's herd. Not knowing, of course, that it was really Zeus, she stroked it and climbed on its back. The beautiful bull then leapt into the sea and swam with now terrified Europa on his back to Crete. There, Zeus revealed his true identity and made love to her. Now, depending on the mythology, he either did this before or after he turned into Zeus. He either was or was not a bull. He either did or did not rape her. He either seduced her or raped her, depending on what you read and who wrote it. There, Zeus revealed his true identity and made love to her. And among him, 3 children were born that then established several different bloodlines. The Red Eye. Taurus is a splendid constellation close to Orion in the heavens. The 3 stars of Orion's belt act like pointers to the supergiant star Aldebaran, which is the eye of the bull. This baneful red-orange eye of the bull, Aldebaran, is located among a V-shaped cluster of fainter stars known as Hades, although it actually lies much closer to us. And then it goes on to say some astrology stuff that we don't need to know. But then the Pleiades are in there as well. So we have both of these energies coming through. It's also probably important to note that the Taurian meteor stream that comes, like the meteor shower that we see in October, which will come from the area of the sky where Taurus is the remnants of the comet impact that was said to be the ending of the last ice age. So the Younger Dryas period, that was the final sinking of these like lost civilizations that spanned the world. So whenever this energy is implemented on more of like an esoteric level, these remembrances of a time before, and also like the dynasties that have come after and the control system that has come after this invasion. When you hear these like mythologies of these like beings coming and then like breeding with humans and then certain dynasties being born, this is very much the like energy of like genetic modification and the like intermingling of different star systems. And whenever Taurus is activated, the star systems that are very much in play are this Aldebaran energy that came much later, probably around like 6,000 BC. It's after the fall. So after 10,000 BC, and then later we see around like 8 to 6,000 is when a lot of the bull worship started to come in. So that tells me that's probably when these beings started coming through, and we saw this invasion of this like Indo-European mindset that took over after the Atlanteans. And then we also have this Pleiadian consciousness, which is said to kind of have gone through the same stuff that we're going through and somehow ascended beyond it. So they should have wisdom to bestow upon us when it comes to integrating polarities and ascending to something beyond. So I told you guys I was going to take you down a bunch of rabbit holes. I put the Pleiades in like a bunch of these slides so I would remember to talk about it. I'm glad I did already because I kept forgetting and I wrote it everywhere. But you definitely make sure that you find time to connect to that star system. We all hold it within us. The cosmos are us, and this is an aspect that needs integrating, as does this Aldebaran aspect, particularly I feel for certain ethnicities whose ancestors were colonizers. I feel that when we connect to the star system, we connect to that like karma and the trauma that our ancestors either went through or created. And can work to heal those timelines so that these karmic patterns do not repeat, because we are here to break these generational curses. And these generational curses do not just stop at our mother and our grandmother. They continue on, and a lot of times they manifest within the body. And this Taurus moon is very much where we work within our physical vessel to come into alignment. I'll come back to that. Okay, so we're going to go over to the chart. I said a whole bunch of stuff already, which is usually the case. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and get into, I have a lot of notes here, but I think we went over this page already for the most part. Europa, you know, Europe is named after her, so it very much resonates with that, like Indo-European, the European mindset, the globalization of this like colonized mindset that we're breaking free from right now and trying to create something new. And I said that it's since the invasion. Okay, so I wrote here that Venus, when in Taurus, is very much focused on the money and the material. And then, of course, I wrote, like, money can very much be the root of all evil. And it's that, obsessive consuming of an energy. And it's like a parasitic energy as well. So it's about coming into alignment and manifesting that which we need and not necessarily what we want. That which aligns with our values and our mission moving forward. Okay, so be very intentional with what it is that you manifest. Okay, I think we did that whole page, so I can just move this over. I'm gonna go over to my software really quick. I want to talk about this, and then we'll go over the cards. Okay, so this is a picture for the moon at the exact time of the moon here in Los Angeles, California. So here it falls on the 11th at about noon. It's 11:59 a.m. at 21 degrees of Taurus. 21 degrees, 18 minutes. It's actually conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So we have the sun, the moon, and the moon's shadow, the moon's farthest polarity, because that is what Black Moon Lilith is. Black Moon Lilith is not a planet. It is not an asteroid, although there is a Lilith asteroid, and multiple calculated points. But what this one is the apogee of the moon's orbit. So it is the farthest point of the moon's lunar orbit when calculated by a mathematical equation that I'm not going to pretend like I understand. And I think most astrologers have no idea how it's really done because the computer does it for us. But Black Moon Lilith is said to be the farthest point of the moon. So we have the sun, the moon, Lilith, and Uranus all here in Taurus, very much activating this point. The sun and moon are actually sextiling Neptune here in Pisces, which of course brings a dual manifestation. So for those of us here who are working with this energy and working to cultivate our spiritual senses and the magic within us, we can really lean into this sextile. Sextiles require a little bit of work, so we'll have to actively reach out and grab it and pull it in, while a trine would just kind of flow it into us. To funnel in the spiritual into the physical, okay? So taking the imagination and the creativity and that which sits on the other side, the intangible, and make it tangible. It will also help us to take that etheric magic, that which is intangible, and manifest it here in the physical for us to then build a foundation with. It helps to merge those two things, the spiritual and physical realm, while simultaneously, for those that think that's all woo-woo and crazy, they'll be leaning into, and dreams. Pay attention to your dreams, because that is going to be like so a focus. They'll be leaning more into the fears and the illusions and the delusions that planet holds as well. So when all this scarcity is happening right now because Uranus is coming, activating all these planets. We have a lot of things happening when it comes to the supply chain happening just right now that's coming out today. A cyber attack occurred on a pipeline, an oil pipeline, and it shut down so much, and it's just starting. There are lines down streets of cars trying to get gas in certain states. A state of emergency was announced in I think 17 states because of this when it comes to the chain. And so it's the next like toilet paper shortage. It's there to instill fear. It's there to create an illusion and a distraction so that you're not paying attention to the technological advancements that are coming to merge with your body and take away your sovereignty and your foundation to make you a slave to the Muggle system. But fortunately, we can set the intentions, particularly right now when the moon is here and exalted and like stable and able to physically ground things and manifest things in the physical. We can be liberated. We have Black Moon Lilith. She is the rebel. She is the liberator. She is here to break free and do it herself. We talk a lot about unity and coming together, and that is the end goal, and that is totally going to happen at some point down the future, but it's not happening now. It's just not. And many of us who have had this like spiritual awakening and spiritual experience, we've felt that. We know that everything is all one. We are one with all that is, and that unity is the best, and that God is God, or universe, or source, whatever you want to call it, is found within everything. And we know that the idea is to come together, but that time is not now. And in order to not be consumed by the Muggle Matrix, like integrated into that like Borg hive mind. Hopefully you watch Star Trek and you'll get my references. We have to break free. And Uranus and Black Moon Lilith are here to help us do that. Lilith, she didn't fucking need no one. She was not going to, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? She was not going to settle when it came to her values and what it was that she wanted and deserved and needed to be equal sovereign human being. She was not going to stand for it. Uranus as well. Uranus is the rebel, the person there to like shake up the system and create something new, even if it means chaos. So these manifestations definitely are going to bring this like chaotic energy about it in order to create liberation. And so heading into eclipse season, I very much think that we need to lean into the chaos a little bit and understand that things need to be shaken up, but at the same time try to stay in this like find the eye of the storm and find that still point of like solitude and sovereignty while being the storm that shakes things up and breaks the system down into bite-sized pieces for us to even understand what it is we're fucking dealing with here. The Mercury on top of the North Node and these eclipses are going to have a lot of information come through that we missed because it's a lot of Mercury retrograde information that's going to even show us what it is that we're working with here. But we have a lot to process. In addition to the conjunctions with these planets. So if you have any planets here in Scorpio, here in Leo, or here in Aquarius, these houses are really going to be activated as in addition to the house that Taurus is in. So in addition to this conjunction this sextile to Neptune. We also have a wider trine to Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn right now. So we're having that energy flow through. Now, again, this has a dual manifestation. For those of us who are working with this energy, this is bringing in assistance to transform, to be reborn, to have that sort of like butterfly phoenix moment. Now we're in the process of deconstructing because Pluto is retrograde, and so a lot of this is going to be internalized. But simultaneously for others, the energy flowing through, because trines flow. They're just energy that flows and works together. And Pluto is also the planet of power. So we need to realize that while we are working with this, the system is too. And what do they see? They see Taurus, banks, production, resources. They see Uranus, technology. Taurus, physical body. They're seeing Uranus come in with these technological advancements to take over all these multiple facets of our reality. And right now, Pluto, the planet of power, is adding its manifestation of power, its cosmic energy to those intentions. So we have to combat this. Everything is a dual manifestation. We have to combat this with our own life, seeing that this is occurring with around us. What is it that we value? What is it we will stand for when it comes to these? And what do we need in order to be self-sustaining so that we do not have to abide by where the system is going? Let's see. We talked about, so in addition to Taurus, the Pleiades and Aldebaran, we're also kind of like right in the middle of the Andromeda constellation as well. It's not aligned with any fixed star. It's kind of between two fixed stars and Andromeda right at the end. But that energy is still very much in play throughout this time. And that brings in the twin flame energy. So many of us have a partner, a significant other. Does not necessarily have to be a loved one. It can be a child, it can be a parent, it can be a friend. But we have some sort of partner in crime that we are working with in order to create this new reality. Now, this could even just be another aspect of yourself if you're working to integrate your like grounded masculine energy during this time as well. Or this is also Venusian, so it could also be the feminine aspect depending on how it is it's manifesting for you. But more often than not, it's probably some sort of loved one, being that Venus is, we have Gemini season coming up, which is very much the sign of others. We communicating with others, those in our immediate reality, and I'm willing to bet there's somebody around. Our values are aligning with certain people while they're not aligning with others. And definitely take this time to lean in and manifest where you want to be when it comes to 2 weeks, 6 months, and in 2032. When we end this Uranus, Saturn cycle, this 45-year cycle that started when many of us were born. So it started just a couple of months after I was born in 88. I was born in 87. And that was when the conjunction began. So this has been our lifetime. This is our lifetime story. And we're writing this ending degrees here. Ending degrees. I mean, ending years. Our last couple years, we got about 10 years. And you know, they already have their intentions set when it comes to this. We have Agenda 2030 already in play, and it is all about the technological takeover of the human race. So what do we need to manifest in order to not be part of that takeover over the next 10 years, in order to be safe, secure, and sustainable within our body and our physical reality? That is Taurus. So I said that this has a lot of parallels to World War II as well. Uranus was in Taurus back then, and so we're seeing a lot of things come through. So we're going to be hearing a lot of stuff about Russia and China. They're blaming Russia for the cyber attack that shut down this oil pipeline that now is causing flights to be canceled, gas shortages, and food shortages, which is just so Taurus. That's just very, very, very Taurian in nature. And like I said, that's normally full moon energy. That's a culmination type energy. And this is a new moon. This is just the seed. So expect more to develop over the next 6 months. I'm not saying that to fearmonger or scare you, but to help you prepare. They're very much working to issue in a one world currency, a one world government, this great reset that is going to be connected to technology, Uranus, our body, Taurus, Virgo too, but the physical realm and our dependence upon them for our resources. So, how can you become self-sufficient? How can you build that sense of security and the foundation that you will need moving forward over the next 2 weeks, the next 6 months, and then until over the long haul, which just to put it in your mind so that it's easier to manifest tangible things, I would say 2032, which is when this cycle ends. And I just wrote here that there's 2 different ways this is going to manifest. So we're going to see this split happen more here in this reality, where especially with this Neptune sextile here is like we are simultaneously going to be building our own sustainable future free from the confines of the Muggle system, but also some of the comforts, while integrating the magic and the spiritual assistance that Neptune offers us, while other people will be leaning into the fears and illusions of Neptune and diving deeper into dependence on this Muggle system, to where they will fight to the death to preserve it, because it is their very ability to survive here on the planet. They don't have apocalypse skills. They don't know how to take care of the self. They don't know what to even do in order to break free, or really even have a desire to. So expect to see this split occur. Jupiter moving in to Pisces later this month as well. You really want to see what's happening here in this house. You can expand so much. Again, it's going to expand Piscean energy. It's going to expand for everybody in the collective. The illusions, the delusions, the dissociation from reality, the complete false fantasy reality that you build upon yourselves. But if we manifest that higher octave, which those of us here hopefully are, oh my gosh, the spiritual advancements that we are going to have occur, the magic that we're going to be able to obtain, the imagination and the creativity and the art and the beauty that will come out of that transit in this area of your life is just like, ooh, I got chills. It's just phenomenal. So definitely find some time to set some intentions around that as well. On the 17th, we have our exact opposition with the supergalactic center in Hecate, which is that asteroid that represents that same magical energy. It's pretty much exact right now. It's off by 2 degrees. They're in alignment. So we really have that funneling through from the vast cosmic realm into the earthly, into the self, really, because this is in Aries. 0 degrees Aries. 0 degrees the sign of the self. This is the initiatory point for the entire zodiac. That is the 1st degrees of the zodiac, the 1st degrees of the self, the 1st degrees of the simulation, the 1st degrees of this coding, the 1st degrees of this reality. And we have super galactic magic, for lack of a better term, funneling in from this profound point that we've talked a lot about, so I'm not going to get too far into it now. But in addition to that, we have all this ancient wisdom and remembrance that are being initiated here with Alexandria. So very much look and see where Cancer falls for you. You're already intuitive and connected in this area of your life. Intuitive hits and psychic activations happen easily, usually tied to your emotions, but and that feminine aspect. but you're definitely going to be having an initiation in this area of your life the same time that we're going to be having these eclipse activations as well that square Atlantis. So it's these same timelines we're seeing play out, which are the key players in where we are now, why we don't know anything about our past, why we are making the same mistakes again and again and again. And those of us here who have these points very prevalent in our natal charts, we're here to bring these timelines back, bring this remembrance back so we can break free from these cycles that repeat. And to do that, we have to have a firm, secure foundation where we are taken care of here in the physical in order to even manifest anything spiritual. So this is where we do it. This is when we do it. Okay, so I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Mercury conjunct the North Node. So we're having a lot of things come through in regards to what this eclipse story was even about. But we didn't get the message because Mercury is going to go retrograde and go back over this point again. And that's when it'll really come through. And we're going to really feel that a lot during eclipse season. And honestly, it's square Atlantis. A lot of this is like past time space continuum. So like if things aren't making sense, it's because, you know, it might not even be this reality that is in focus for you right now. And a lot of the stuff might be happening in dream space, especially once Jupiter, that higher mind, really enters that like dreamland of Neptune and Pisces. A lot of it might be happening in that like astral realm because it just sits beyond this time-space continuum. I just want to see if there's anything else I want to say before we go into the cards, but I think we're good. I'm going to go over to the chat and see if you guys have any questions. No, we're good. Okay. So I pulled a couple of cards really quick, and we'll just go ahead and cover those. And I pulled a rune, too. Okay. Oh, I also grabbed a couple of crystals that might be good for you guys to utilize during this moon if you have them to kind of channel in this energy. So citrine, of course, citrine is always really good for intentions, setting things into motion, manifesting. I like to use it a lot during new moons. Tiger's eye for that like focused manifestation and action taking in the physical to like stay steadfast and focused in your goals, which is very Taurian. Unakite, which is really there to help like connect the body with the physical realm so that you can co-create here. You know, we can do a lot in the spiritual realms, but we're kind of fucking useless here if we can't materialize any of that. And being in your body, which is why they try to keep us so far out of our body and attack it any way they can, which is a lesson that's very much been coming through for me lately. Being in our body helps us to create here. There's a time and space to blast, a time and place, and space, but a time and place to blast off. And right now we are grounding down, building those roots, and solidifying that foundation. You know, Unakite will help you do that. And then petrified wood. Petrified wood is my favorite for that like grounding energy. Remember, we have Uranus there. We have eclipsy energy. It's not your average Taurus moon. It's not your average grounding, but it is our last chance to like really kind of take the reins a little bit more, because like I said, when eclipse season starts, I don't often recommend manifesting or trying to like control the situation. I always recommend to kind of pay attention and see what's being shown to you, because it's probably wonderful things that you were kind of blind to and where you need to be going anyway. But this new moon, which is not an eclipse, has an eclipse counterpart. So if you want to try to direct where that next eclipse story is going, the one that starts at the end of the year in Taurus and Scorpio, if you want to direct where that's going, this would be the moon where you would set some intentions. So I would also set some around that eclipse story, that you can look up the dates. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I know the first one is on November 19th, 2021, and then it's an 18-month cycle. So petrified wood helps to like ground things into the physical. It also is very, very, very ancient and was here during, or was like a living tree, coding information within its rings during a lot of these timelines. I touched some petrified wood in Oregon at a gem shop that was so old that it was on Pangea when we were just one continent. So something like that would definitely hold a lot of this like ancient Atlantean or Alexandrian wisdom and help to like funnel in those codes as well. Although you don't need any of these things, all you need is your mind, but they do help to like focus your intent. The universe runs on intent. These things just help you to focus your intent. And then we have some cards. Okay, so I pulled a couple of cards and I pulled a rune. So these are I love these cards because they're inappropriate. Spiritual AF cards. And you're supposed to like pull one each day for like a little advice or like something to like try out for the day. And these are for the lunation. So it says, guess who ain't gotta explain shit to nobody? You. And then it says, go outside and do shit, which is what I recommend for your ritual. And I'll flip these over in a second. And then the rune is Manaz. I think it's Manaz is how you pronounce it. I know my Germanic ancestors are like rolling in their graves right now, but I did the best I can pronouncing that. Okay, so it says, quit trying to explain yourself to everyone. No one has to understand your brand of cuckoo. You gotta own your own shit, but that's a whole lot different than trying to get everyone to sign off on whatever weirdness you want to create. Get on with your freaky little self, you freaky little fuck. And then it says, it's been proven all over the place that trees and nature and fresh air and all that shit help fight depression, anxiety, addiction, and pretty much anything else that might ail you. Find some place to put your feet on the grass or the dirt or the water or anywhere that's not concrete. A 5-minute nature break can reduce the amount of shitty thoughts in your brain drastically as fuck. So what I recommend for the ritual is after you set your intentions, go outside, put your feet on the earth, visualize roots growing from your feet into the earth as you read your intentions out loud, because we create with our voice, with our throat, which is activated by Taurus, and speak it into existence as you ground it into the physical through your intention and your visualization. And do you, boo. Like, this is where you line it with your values. I don't care what anybody else thinks. If people are trying to bully you into whatever sort of future they think humanity needs to be in, too bad. We're doing our own thing. We didn't come here to do their thing, and we're not going to do their thing. And you know what? There's other people like you, and we're right here to support you along the way. And then this rune is the rune of the self. It's the rune of a divinely conscious human who is one with all. So we're coming into alignment with the self while still playing the game, because we are still very much within the Mongol Matrix, you know? And we're playing our way out. I'm just going to read this really quick. Like its individual members, the human race is more or less consciously pursuing its destiny. I just want to pause really quick. The eclipses are our collective destiny as well. They really affect humanity on a collective level. And we need to lean into both. What we're manifesting as a whole and what we're manifesting as a soul. And what we're manifesting as a whole has multiple manifestations. So we want to make sure we're taking the higher timeline as well, while not getting caught up in some of the lower octaves that are manifesting. So, like its individual members, the human race is more or less consciously pursuing its destiny, which in turn is bound up with the destiny of the Earth, the universe, other star systems have affected our free will, have impeded upon our free will in any way, shape, or form, are karmically connected to us. This includes the Pleiades above, the Nordic Aldebarans who helped Hitler with whatever, building things, and came here and breeded with us, or split their DNA, whatever it is they did, and all of the other star systems as well. Any system that has reached out to us is now karmically connected. That particularly all of the ones that rotate around the supergalactic center, that's like our bigger star family as well. But we're really connected to like legit everything. So, like its individual members, the human race is more or less consciously pursuing its destiny, which in turn is bound up with the destiny of the Earth, the universe, and the divine plan itself. Those eclipses, they're fated. The Manaz rune is shaped like a two mirror image, banners, or flags. Humankind's destiny is shown to be attached not just to the tribal banner, but also to the banner of creation itself, of which humans are a reflection. Your consciousness is limited only by your sense of identity. A narrow sense of identity can separate you from others. As you transcend gender, tribal, and national identification, you become more conscious. When you embrace the universe wholeheartedly, you are universally conscious. Manaz represents the mystery of the most fundamental relationship, the macronism of humankind, and the micronism of humankind and the macronism of the universe. It represents the transient, androgynous, divinely conscious human. It also, in esoteric correspondence, it corresponds with the shaman and the spiritual healer, which this Jupiter entering Pisces is very much going to be activating those of us in the spiritual realm to step into alignment and not illusion. And yeah, okay. And then I pulled an archetype. So I pulled a card from the archetype book, and of course I got the star child, the starborn, which is the archetype of the star child and the destined soul. And when I looked at the image before I read the book, the first thing I saw was like this egg, which to me the egg was like birthed in Aries season. But the egg is like cracking. And the cracking starts during Taurus season, where we come into the physical realm. We come out of the self and into the physical reality. And the reality is born. And if you see the background, it looks like it's being born into like beautiful chaos, you know? And it's that like cosmic chaos. I mean, the best word I can think of is like chaos. It's being born into like the beauty, the order. The stars seem like consciousness, like order, but the splotches behind it seem quite chaotic, and it's just going to have to navigate this realm that it's being birthed into now, into the physical. But they don't say anything about that in this book, but that's what came through for me. Okay, so the starborn, the divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self, the starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. which it's like, that's your cosmic blueprint, right? That's all these stars that we're talking about. And I find it interesting that it says the royal stars, because the Aldebaran Star is considered one of the 4 royal stars. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the star-born naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. It's beyond this Taurus energy, but we need to understand it and be firm in it in order to build beyond it. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story. Look at your chart for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than as a series of logistics. Read the story of the 3 fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. When this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long-lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Let this desire shake you up. Have your chart read. Study your constellated shape. Ask questions. What does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? I love that. And if you guys are looking for somebody to dive into your natal chart, I definitely recommend reaching out to Liz. I'm not doing regular natal charts right now. I just can't. But she is, and she is phenomenal. So definitely reach out to her, Dreamweaver Astrology, and she's over on Discord as well. You guys can find her over in the Cosmic Alliance. And hopefully you follow her online because she posts phenomenal stuff. I love her so much. So that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, you can feel free to write them in the chat. But really, what physical, tangible shit do you need in order to implement your goals and your purpose? Now is when you manifest it. Make sure to funnel in some magic. You might need to transform and let go. Stuff's coming through from other realms. We're heading into eclipse season. You're probably going to have to redo some stuff because of Mercury. Transportation's going to be weird. Tech stuff is going to be weird. We have a lot of things happening right now with the production line. Expect the unexpected, but this is triggering us because we can see everything is faulty. The foundation that was built for us by the Muggle Matrix is not sustainable. It is faulty, and we are seeing this plain as day right now, which is forcing us. Taurus needs to be forced sometimes in order to make change because it's fixed. Forcing us to build our own, so that we can create the future that this was never going to create. It wasn't going to do it. So now is when we break free. Sovereignty, a lot of focus within the body, protection, alignment, abundance, and truth. Love you guys. Our next video is for the eclipse. So our next video is on the 22nd for the Sagittarius eclipse, which is on the 26th. And yeah, I try to do it on Saturday so that some of the people that work during the week can make it. I wanted to do it a little bit earlier. And yeah, I adore you guys. I hope you see it. Claire created little fortune things, those things from back in the day where you used to do this. And she is giving them, mailing them or emailing them in exchange for donations because she is in a transitionary period between housing and she has till the end of the month to move. So if you can or are able to help support her, she's taking donations and she would definitely appreciate it. And yes, I adore you. I adore all of you. And we will talk soon. Bye, guys. Happy new moon. Let me know over on Discord what you guys do, if you do anything special. But make sure to tag me so I see it. Thank you. Bye.